one. Hi, Ashna, and welcome to Between Two Churns. This will be a quick interview about a customer success or a customer story, but with a twist. We will be focusing on only the most horrific, frightening, and ghastly situations that are out there that are either leading to or almost leading to customer churn. We all love it, right? It's like a good soap opera, retold by the person that lived it, and most importantly, based on a true story. And I'm super happy that this time that person is you. We finally meet. Yay.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here. You're right. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm just pumped. Yeah.
No, it's
I
good.
can't wait to share mine.
These stories need telling. So
Yeah.
briefly tell us who you are and also how you feel.
I feel scary. I'm just kidding. I mean, to be able to relive something that went through, and so I'm feeling emotions are all over the place. But hey, everyone,
Good.
this is Ashna Patel. I am a manager of customer success and support at Ascent Cloud, and I'm also a co-founder of CS Insider and CS Ladies, some of the organizations that you might have, come around on LinkedIn. So
Yeah, which
here I
are
am.
awesome. So if you don't follow those, go do it. But and I also have to say that you're super brave because you're now one of the few that basically venture out into a knowledge-hungry world, telling the stories as they are, the terrible tales as they happen, instead of like the usual, let's double NRR and this is how we did it type stories. I mean, those are important as well, but these I think
I
are a lot
agree.
more fun.
It's not always pretty. That's what it
It's
is.
no, and
And
it
it's,
shouldn't be. No,
it shouldn't be.
exactly.
And I mean, the pretty wouldn't be there without the ugly and whatever. So
Exactly. 100%
yeah,
true. So shall we get to it?
let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so I said this last time and I love it, so I'm going to do it again. Let's assume we're at a digital campfire right now, and please set the stage for us.
All right. So this was, what was it? October, November of 2019, I want to say. This was around the Halloween time a couple of years ago. So I
Oh.
think it was just meant to be around to be happening at this time. But this was the time when I was a customer success manager. I had a book of business, and we also have we used to have renewals back then. So I was working at renewals too. So the story is about a renewal that I almost lost. But so that gives a little bit of a, almost.
It's going to be
But
good.
there's more to it. There is more to it because I think I was mentioning earlier. This is a story about when it rains, it pours. So basically, when it comes at you, it just comes at you with all arms and everything that it can. So what happened is I had this customer. It wasn't really the top of my book of business by ARR customer, but it was still an important customer. We have been renewing with them, multi-year for the longest time. So it was a long time, customers. We had a good relationship with them, and I actually ended up going to visit them. I think it was a few months before the renewal time, the period, and I think they were in New York or Texas, one or the other. But anyways, I visited them, and I think on the site when I visited them, and it was me and the account manager, so we teamed up, and we talked to the team, our main point of contact, some of the champions. We talked about the drill when you go visit them, you talk about all the fun stuff, and we walked out pretty happy with everything. I mean, they were looking good, they were happy, and the usage was good, and all stats were, everything was looking good. So we had some follow-up items that we needed to work on, and we decided that we'll come to those. We wanted to give them a little bit of a time. Everything is looking okay, so let's just pause for a little bit. You guys do what you need to do, and then we'll reach out again. So I think it was after a month or so of visiting, and the account manager tried to reach out for the check-in, saying check-in, never say check-in, but they
Ooh.
try to but I think, they tried to reach out, and we didn't hear back from them. So then, we work as a team. So that part of the strategy was, okay, fine, now I'll try. And, I'll ping my point of contact and other things. And again, usage is still looking okay. So we weren't really concerned, but renewal was around the corner. So, it's one of those things. So I reached out again, nothing. And this went on for almost, I think we used to reach out 90 days in advance. That's when we start our cycle with the renewal. So this, I think reaching out went on for I think almost, I would say, a couple months. And we just couldn't. It's just like nobody was responding. And
getting increasingly stressed.
Yeah. It was, I was like, and to be honest, like, to give you some ideas, I was expecting another multi-year with this because, that's what they've been doing with us. We had a good meeting with them. I see a good potential with them. So fine. And then we reach out, and somehow after trying, I think this is like 15 days before the renewal, we got hold of someone, and they said the main point of contact had left the company.
Oh no.
But then I was like, okay, fine. Well, it wasn't the only person that we talked to. There were more people. So, get us connected with someone else. And they said all the people that were part of and responsible for this were let go.
Oh no. And this happened right after your meeting.
Yeah. And so I was like, what did we do? And, this was, and now I tell you, I remember this. I had a 30-second pause on, like, I was on a call with them, and I literally had a 30-second silence pause because I was like, I am in my mind, I was like, I'm screwed, basically. Renewal's gone. I was expecting a multi-year. I'm not even gonna get a 1 year because, thinking about a situation kind of in a way that I was expecting something, thinking they know what they're talking about, they know what they did, but now not just one person, the entire team is let go, who were really our main people to work with.
So you have to start over.
Start over. And this is 15 days before the renewal or something along the lines of those. So keep in mind where we are right now. I'm gonna tell you another part of the story real quick. So along in the beginning, one of the reasons why we went to visit them was also to kind of give them a little bit of a thank you to. They referred us to another branch earlier, and our salesperson was working on that pilot or that, another deal with them, which was a different branch, different people, but it was somehow affiliated or associated with this company that we used to work with. So the reason why I bring this up, because again, the timing has to be perfect, because at the time of renewal, when this was happening, we weren't getting hold of anyone. We had find out from the salesperson that, they had closed the deal, that the other deal that we were working on, it was a pilot, but that was closed. And then they had some struggle even in the sales cycle with them, because they were, high demand customers, whatever. There's a lot of situation. Maybe they wanted something so more custom in X, Y, and Z. But so I think what they did is like, well, it makes sense, Ashna, for you to be on this, because not only you had a relationship with these other customers, the CSM, which are, related, even if they're not the same thing. It just, it's just that high up in the chain kind of a customer we would love for you to be on it. I was like, fine, let's do it. We had a little bit of a handoff call, and then in the handoff, it was explained to me that they had some struggle in the beginning, and that it might be hard because the person that we were working with, they did do a pilot, but it was really hands-on for them. Like our team didn't really get so involved. So there wasn't much that we knew what was going on their side, but still they wanted this solution. They went with it and all that good stuff. So now coming back to the previous story about the renewal, again, I'm taking you to two different places, but bear with me. Coming back to the renewal story, as I got off a call that I had about them basically letting me know that everybody left, basically. I mean, that was a weird situation, I guess. But somehow I was, I bought some time. I told them, it's okay, but we would still like to have at least one, call with the new person that we're working with here, or looking at all your vendors and who your solutions are and what they are and all that situation. And we would like to just get a chance to talk to them, just to understand where are you, what your expectations are, what you're trying to solve, and then see if this really fits in or not. I mean, starting fresh, basically. So I was trying to buy time. So I can pause, reflect, create a plan, strategize with our team, and
Smart.
yeah, go in with what we can. So I bought some time. And on this other side, around the same time, I was getting ready for this handoff with this other customer, the branch, the different branch. On a handoff, what happens is, um, here's a disclaimer: salespeople, and everybody actually, try not to joke around with customers that take you really seriously, because it doesn't go well. It doesn't go well sometimes.
Oh no.
So what happens is we get on a call, and I was a CSM, but also transitioning into being a team lead and some other things that were going to happen. And again, even with being a CSM, I've always had my schedule, my calendar. It's just crazy booked. And I think, or I believe there was a place where our salesperson tried to maybe joked around about it, that we were trying to schedule time with you, but Ashna here is always so busy. So that didn't go well. Because well, I mean, they took the joke in that time. But what happened is I went through the whole my kickoff deck and everything, and the handoff was great. But then we realized that because they kind of did the the testing and all of it, they thought that we were supposed to give them something that we can't, I guess. So I mean, there was a bit of a expectations weren't set right and all that, and it just not a good start, because they wanted to start yesterday and they started today, and from a customer standpoint, it's just like everything kind of came together for them.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, back in my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe even if I'm losing this other customer, the big one that I wanted to have a multi-year, I still might have some chance to go back to them using this new relationship that we're trying,
Exactly,
we're building. So this was like on the back of my mind. So it was, I mean, for a new, when I'm onboarding a new customer, it was important for me to start a good relationship with them. But it was even more important because that could potentially help me save today or in the long run this other one. So what happens is all of this is going on. So basically, this other customer, it's potentially I'm losing. Technically it could have been a 2 or 3 year. And then this customer here is just not happy with all of this. And last thing what happens is to put my anxiety level to, I don't even know, like it's just shoot up in the sky. We send out a survey, and this is, again, we have different surveys we send out to our customers, and for the onboarding ones and for the other customers.
So the survey was to rate the onboarding experience then?
Yes, there is a different one for that.
Yeah.
And we weren't ready to send that out yet, because onboarding had just started. So I was like, wait a minute, let's not rush into this. This customer is not 100% happy, so let me at least try to make them happy, and then we want to get feedback, but maybe sometimes the better story. So, and then we had another customer that survey that goes out to the customer at certain time in a cycle. I think it's just like, how you feeling? How you doing? Is there anything that we could do better? I think, along the lines of those. Somehow, and again, I don't know how and what happened, but that other survey went to this customer who was not supposed to receive. Like I said, when it rains, of course. So, and we get this survey back with this customer that he's just basically expressing, my expectations are not met. I mean, I've had one call with this customer. I'm telling you, one call, and everything. It's not set. They weren't set right. The person we were supposed to meet, her schedule is always so booked up. It's coming back, and all of that. And that survey actually goes to, I think, we have a small company, so it goes to our marketing team, I believe, or a lot of people can see it. That's how it built in the company. So a lot of people saw it, and I'm telling you, I'm not even trying to praise our product or solutions or services, but we don't get negative surveys that often. So when it does,
so it was
it's a big deal. Yeah, it was like, what? And especially, from a customer that's just, starting out, and people know about what's going on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I just start getting, all these messages. What happened? What happened?
Exactly. So the new customer was like, okay, I had one call with her and she's already sending me the survey. So that's all I'm going to have. So I'm going to let loose in the survey. And then everyone internally was like, okay, Ashna, I don't know what you did on the call with this customer, but this is not great.
No. And then, and then in my mind, I see it, and I am. So that's when I was at that. I think this was like around the end of the day. So there wasn't much that I could have been able to do anyways that day. And I remember that that night I was stressed. I was pretty stressed because I'm not only losing a customer, a big like a renewal that I could have had it for two, and I'm even losing a hope to win that renewal, and also this another customer that could be a renewal. So this was a but so what happens next day, first thing I do is, well, not even next day, the same day, I reach out to the customer and the new customer. So the new customer, I reach out to them and be like, let's schedule a call tomorrow, first thing. I know it's late for you. They're in, I think they're in the East Coast. I know it's late for you. Let's get on a call tomorrow and let's talk about this. As in, like, we got your review and we're sad that you're feeling this way. That was not the intention. And so let's just get on a call and talk about this. And so that's done. And then on the other side, I create a plan, as in, work with the account manager. It's like, okay, well, now we only have one chance to win this renewal, and that is not going to be by this other customer. That's a long shot. We're just going to have to come up with something, and let's put together. We put together a slide deck, thinking that we will have to present the solution, thinking that we will have to talk about why is it important for them, thinking. So we try to do all the research that we can in the next, whatever, and put together a plan before a half-hour call that we got with this customer, the customer that I was working on a renewal with. So there's two different ways, plans going on. The next morning, I did get on I get on a call with this the new customer, and I would, you got to go with the feelings part first, empathize and all the thing that we talk about. I did, and I genuinely felt for it. It's I try to put myself in their shoes. Like, what would you think if you're trying to get help, trying to resolve something, and they could be under a certain pressure or whatever, and they needed some, and they're not getting the right help. They don't even think this is the right product for them after purchasing it. And now it's put in a place where, they're asking to write something. It's just, that's, so I went with empathy, and then I was completely honest that, it was a mess up. This is what happened. It wasn't intended to you, but I'm glad that you got it. And I'm glad that we had the review, because now I know exactly what you're feeling.
Yeah,
and I
so
can
you
help
owned
you.
it. That's good.
Exactly. So I think we did that, and I think he really liked that. I think they really liked it, and we worked it out. We worked it out, as in, like, here's what you need. Here's, maybe let's backtrack a little bit. Expectations weren't set, but here's where we are. Here's what we can help with. Here's how I can support. Here's the plan. And all that, and I'm telling you, I will clear up my schedule for you, so you don't have to worry about my schedule, and I'll work that out. So I had to.
You had to say that,
yeah, and I did, and I did. I actually did, and I think within a week, I believe we got another review from him, and that was all positive. And I think so. I think that part worked out well, but it was a moment of it's just not. I think for me was that, we don't typically get negative reviews, but when you do, it is a shock, but also it's going out to everyone basically. And it's just a question.
To be honest, I think there's a super important lesson in there already, because I know that a lot of SaaS companies actually usually do these types of reviews, submit them to their Slack directly through their ops person or something else, and everyone gets to see it, because basically everyone needs to see customer feedback. It's important for everyone. But I can also imagine that if you're the CSM on an account that gets really negative feedback, that can also kind of put you down in a way. But for you, it didn't. You actually owned it. You turned it around. Then you get that positive review a week later. That's like that's probably even better than getting the positive review immediately, right? You bet
Exactly.
that's you showing your worth to the entire company. It's
Exactly.
like, okay, look at how negative this guy was, and look at how good I am that I got him to turn
Mhm.
around. That's
Exactly.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's done. And then the other side, this other one, the other renewal that we had that was pending is it took us, I want to say, it took us at least 6, 7 months or even 8. We had to do some extension to be able to you kind of like prove them, because what happened is when we did get on a call with them, and he was really happy that we had a plan to talk to him about. But I think before even presenting our plan and just going in there with like, we can do this and that and whatever, we took time to understand, why is it not important for you anymore? That used to be, and what changed. Now we know something big must have happened because you let go of so many people. Are you changing the way that you work? What are the changes that you're adding, and how can we support? And we were flexible with how we can support in terms of the renewal wise too. We weren't, so I think we didn't want to force them to be closed into something. We wanted to give them a chance, but at the same time, we also wanted to make sure that for us to be able to give you a chance, you give us a chance to work with you to see if this could still be a solution for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's the approach that we went with, and which is, typically what when you're trying to negotiate, that's what you kind of give and get kind of an approach that you go with.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
it took us 7-8 months, but we didn't. I mean, one thing, we didn't get a multi-year, but at least we were secure then for another year. So there's that.
Yeah, there you go. So did you feel like you had to basically resell them on the value of your solution, or was it more so that they had gone through such a big organizational change that value didn't really matter anymore? They just decided that this doesn't fit anymore.
Value, I think, mattered, but I feel like, when you imagine kind of if you're put it in the place where maybe you're starting out something new or taking over of something, and you have all this, they might have had 50 vendors that they used to work with, or this team was working with, and more than half of them were just people had no idea why they were there. They were maybe being renewed of whatever
Yeah.
reason. It's just like, you go in as a new person, you're trying to, cost, budget, all of that matters to you, and even the human resource that's being used. So I think for them it was more around, I think we had to prove it that even for few users, it was valuable that they can. I don't even think we were trying to prove them value for them to renew everything. We were just trying to prove value that, this is something that you used for a reason. And even if you don't have that reason anymore, like today,
Yeah,
there are other reasons that we were sure that you'll find it. And this is why it's useful for you. And because we've had that relationship in the past, let's just at least, brainstorm on how you can use it and go with it. So,
yeah,
so
exactly.
that was the approach.
Awesome. I think there's a super valuable lesson in there. And maybe as a final question, because this story basically started with like multiple stakeholders leaving. Obviously, in customer success, stakeholder management, always a thing. And then usually, at least what I've seen or read or heard about stakeholder management, usually the advice is more so like, don't make sure that you only work with, in our case, for example, the community manager, but also make sure that you know the VP of this. So basically go a couple of layers deeper. Don't always stick with just the person that is using your tool or the person that has been there for the project. So would you say in this story that there was a different way to do stakeholder management, or was this just an outlier? And this is basically worst case stakeholder management for CS ever?
I think it was a bit of an outlier, because, and why I say this is because there were multiple people involved, and it was just a situation where we were out of luck of getting hold of any one of them because of what happened, the change that happened, and change happens. But I think what I would say is, which is a little bit different than the stakeholder, is that we could have done a better job of hearing them. And what I mean by that is, like, we visited them, we looked at the stats, we relied on all that information, and it's good and stuff, but I'm sure there was something that I can try to sit here and go back to that, my visit with them. I'm sure there was something that we missed out because we were focused on how happy we were with everything that was going on, that we just didn't it's like hear them when they're not even talking situation. I think that's I feel like that we could have done a little bit better. But I think with the stakeholders, I feel like, I don't think it was the worst. I don't think, I mean, we were a couple layers here and there. We had multiple people, but at the same time, maybe because we didn't hear them, we weren't really aware of what was really happening in the company. I think we were just aware of what was happening with their solution and how it was helping them and all that. But it's, even though we knew so many people, we didn't know what was going on with them, kind of, or not that much. So I think that's the part that I think we would have done better.
Awesome. I love this story. I mean, love this story as someone that hears it, not someone that lives it. So I probably wouldn't want to be in your shoes, basically being stressed about this for, in your case, eventually months. Because you spent a couple of months on actually securing the new deal on the old contract as well. So kudos to actually solving that and not losing them, because I think that's really difficult, I feel, in this situation. And also kudos on actually sharing it with us and everyone. I think this is such an amazing story. So that was super cool.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on. I really had a lot of fun. This is the second episode, so they're getting better and better. I love this. Super awesome.
This is a great idea, by the way. This is an excellent idea. I love it. I have to tell you this though, and again, I love the idea of this horror stories. And again, I'm not sure if people have done this before or not, but I sort of took your idea. And we had a happy hour, or we finished our Q4 CSKO yesterday, and we had a happy hour with our CSM team. So I presented this idea that everyone dress up if you can, virtually, but still dress up, and we're going to share horror stories of our customers. So I took a little bit of the idea and we did, and it went so well. It went so well. So
did you
thank
video?
You.
Did you video?
I didn't video, but I have a picture.
Oh, I want to see the picture.
Awesome.
For everyone tuning in, thank you for tuning in and listening into the story. If you have any comments or questions or tips or something else, feel free to reach out to me or Ashna. I don't know if it still helps right now, but like those sideline advice things a couple of years after it actually happened, who knows? Could be super beneficial. And stay tuned for the next one, because we're definitely continuing this series. So I'm hoping to be back with some more horror stories soon. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Ashna.